I want to raise the question today. You know, Lavrov was in the Oval Office on yesterday and talking with Tribulation Trump. An hour after Tribulation Trump, the articles of impeachment had been announced, Lavrov, the Russian ambassador, foreign minister, met with Tribulation Trump. I thought it was quite odd. And so I was trying to figure out, well, what will be the reason for Lavrov and Trump getting together yesterday? And of course, you know, when Trump meets with Russians, whether it's Lavrov or Putin, no American journalist will be allowed in the room, and no note takers are there as well. And there's never any notes based on the aspect of their meeting. At any rate, so I thought myself and everybody else was trying to figure out, scratching their heads as to why would Trump meet with a Russian official an hour after the House of Representatives Speaker announces that they're preparing to impeach him over Russian issues. And why would he sit there smiling like a Cheshire cat and let Lavrov stand over him like all Lavrov got to do is put his hand on that orange hair and say, "You're a nice little boy." Why would he do that? There are a couple of things I want to raise today. Is Trump preparing for impeachment? And whether he will admit that he's preparing or not, I think that he is. And there's some bluster that he does on Twitter, which means he's preparing. But by preparing, is Trump preparing? Because if Trump is impeached, let me put it this way. If Trump is impeached in the House, and what will happen then, the nation will explode. Now, you know, there is a potential that the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi's group, may not kick that boy out. And the reason being is because of those congresspersons in the House who are in vulnerable districts. If there's any dirt, if they've got any closets, any skeletons, the Russians have found it out. And if there's any way they can apply pressure, even with death threats, to members of the House to vote not to impeach, it's going to be applied. So I think one of the reasons why Nancy is moving so quick is to obfuscate the interworkings of Russia and other thugs who will be blackmailing or threatening these House of Representatives with bringing out dirt on them, or threatening to kill them, or threatening to take away their Senate, their congressional seat, if they vote yes on impeachment. So that's potential. He might not be impeached. I know that's a thought that probably has crossed the minds of some of you. Maybe it had not. But it's hard, but not that they don't want to do it. But let's just go ahead and say that they will vote to impeach, which I think they will. They may not. But if they do, the nation is going to explode. This is going to be like Krakatoa volcano back in the 19th century out there in the Indian Ocean, Mount St. Helens, that exploded some years ago. If the House vote, before it gets to the Senate floor, America is going to go off the rails if that takes place. And if the House votes not to impeach, the same thing. Let me just repeat: Krakatoa volcano, Mount St. Helens. America is going to explode if they vote not to impeach this Tribulation Trump. So either way, you got an explosion coming. So, you know, have your boots ready by next week, because America is going into massive explosive modes, whether they impeach or do not impeach. And you can understand why. If they vote to impeach, Trump supporters are going to go off the rails, because he's now a heartbeat away from being removed from office. All the Senate got to do is to remove him from office. And potentially when the Senate holds its hearing with Chief Justice Roberts presiding over the ceremony, potentially people could come in, and over the process, many of the people that are now saying as senators that they will not vote to impeach, that the evidence is not commanding enough for impeachment, may decide to get religion and impeach that bad boy. If something could happen, a smoking gun, somebody could testify and give those senators who know Trump is a degenerate a reason to impeach that boy, and he'd get impeached by at least 90 of 90 members of Congress of the Senate will vote to impeach him. That's possible. And he's a heartbeat away from that. He knows it. So my question is, if that's the case, I mean, if they vote to impeach him, if the Senate convicts Trump and removes him, the nation will go into civil war. If that's what they do. If the Senate votes to impeach him, the nation will go into civil war. And if the Senate votes not to impeach him, the nation explodes into civil war again. There's no stopping the explosion and the civil war that lies in the month of December, January, particularly February. It's going to happen. Impeached or not impeached, removed or not removed, it's going to happen. But that's not what I come to talk to you about. What I come to talk to you about is this. First of all, he's named Tribulation Trump. And you, my friends, you're going to see tribulation in America. Rather than saying America will explode, the world will explode if the Senate, if the House votes not to impeach Trump, the world will explode. America will say to the world, you know, we got a human crime wave. We got the lyingest person ever walked planet Earth. We got a degenerate, and we don't care. The nations of the world will explode if America says we're going to keep this degenerate. We're going to keep this human crime wave. The rest of the world will explode. So let me point that up as well. But I think it's important that we understand that from that perspective of our concern, Trump's concern is this. If they don't impeach him in the House and the matter fails to get the number of votes, then Trump is going to go crazy. He's going to absolutely go crazy. But the rest of the world is going to go crazy, and the world is going to overthrow the White House. If the House of Representatives don't do it, the common man in the street is going to do it. So he's gone one way or the other. It's all over with for that boy. And if they do impeach him, they don't impeach him rather, and then he goes to the 2020 election, he's going to lose. And once Trump is no longer president on January 1 of 2021, then all of his criminal activity that he has done from day one, including his tax returns, are now accessible to Bo McFadden down in North Carolina, Mr. Claudia Lewis. Anybody can get that boy. He no longer has the protection of the presidency. Oh, he can try to use his lawyers to fight in court, but he won't have the same kind of ultimate power he's got. And that boy is guilty of a whole lot of stuff that he'll be fighting battles on. He's already got over 100 cases. Listen to me. Over 100 cases regarding Trump, whether it's assault, attempted rape, or whether it's being individual one, and the issue with the financial disclosure with Michael Cohen, or whether it's having hidden stuff with David Pecker of the Inquirer magazine. He's got over 100 cases. They're trying to get his tax returns. The House Ways and Means Committee, they're still filing lawsuits to try to get people to testify against various other things that have happened. The boy is in big trouble. And the only thing that's keeping him afloat is the fact that he's the president, and allegedly they say you can't indict a sitting president. But once he's no longer the president, all bets are off. So what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Once he's no longer a sitting president, state and county officials, including federal officials, can come at him with so many lawsuits. Oh, my goodness gracious, they'll need a new law library to cover all the lawsuits that's going to be coming at Trump. And coming at his money as well. And he ultimately would end up in jail. Now, remind me to talk to you about Giuliani and what Giuliani is going to do when Giuliani testifies. But ultimately, just on the face of all of this, there is nothing can stop the fact that ultimately one day Trump's not going to be president. And when he's not president, he won't have all this protection. When he's no longer president, he won't have the protection of the senators. Because they don't like him anyway. They never did. But they're hanging on to him for their own hide. Listen, when Trump is no longer president, when he's no longer president, he ain't got no power. All this power he's wielding now to protect himself from tax fraud, from rape assaults, from violation of the emoluments code, from obstruction of justice, from the shenanigans that he pulled. When he's no longer president, he ain't got no wall of protection. No more. And over 50% of the American people right now, as I speak, want to see him impeached. And they're going to come after him. And there's no way he's going to avoid going to jail or committing suicide. We'll get back to that suicide thing. We'll come back to that later. I'm not suggesting that he should. I'm not wishing nor praying that he should. I'm talking about the potentials. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Because he ain't going to be president forever. He may escape. Listen, the House may not vote to impeach him. I don't think that they're going to do something crazy like that, but they may not. Is that it? It's all. But it ain't over with. It ain't over with. This thing ain't over with. It ain't over with. Not by a long shot. And in 2021, if he's no longer president, and Elizabeth Warren is president, oh God forbid, or Pete Buttigieg, or Joe Biden, one of them, then I'm leaving town. I'm going to Russia. But listen, it no matter what happens, it's on. The tribulation is on, no matter what happens. Listen, the House can say, well, we ain't going to impeach him. Russian could get some of those people out there, and the House of Representatives say, we're going to cut off your children's, lunch bucket or something like that. Or we're going to drag something out of the closet you did when you were in high school. We're going to drag out a picture when you did blackface, right? Something like that. And say, well, I ain't going to vote because I ain't, And so the House fails. Nancy Pelosi's impeachment articles, they fail. But it still ain't over with. The tribulation is here, my brother. It ain't over with. It ain't over with. Because if they don't do it, then the citizens will rise up themselves in ways you have never. Do you see how many people marched against Trump the day after his election? I mean, was it his election or his inauguration? The streets around the world were filled with millions of people who thought that Trump, and was right, that he was unfit for office. Those people are still out there. They're still out there. And if they don't impeach him, and they very well may not, but listen, he'd be better off if they do impeach him in terms of what will happen to him if they don't impeach him. Now it moves to the Senate. He's hoping, and what I hear, probably what you hear as well, I'm not sure it's the most accurate hearing, but what he is hoping is that when he gets to the Senate, the senators are going to protect him. They're going to say what he did was wrong, but it didn't rise to the level of impeachment. Well, if it didn't rise, doing what he did didn't rise to the level of impeachment, I don't know what does. But anyway, they can say that. And the results will be the exact same, as if the House did not impeach him. America will then rise up, and you'll see anger in America like you've never seen before. You'll see rioting. You'll see situations going on. But it's all, we're in a tribulation. If I haven't made myself abundantly clear, let me make myself ultra abundantly clear. It's on, no matter what happens. The House can say we ain't going to impeach him. Therefore, don't go to the Senate. But it ain't over with. In fact, it will be better. We'll have a little bit more time to gather our grapes if the House votes to impeach him before the world explodes, because it's going to explode. This boy's a tribulation. I told y'all that some time ago. Well, the Lord told me, and I told y'all what the Lord told me. This boy's a tribulation. It's on. So my question is this, and that's obvious, and if he's no longer president, let's say, for instance, he gets voted out as president, then he ain't got no protection no longer. All the stuff that boy has done, and everybody knows he's done it. He can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue when he ain't president. That boy going to jail. No, Trump going to be arrested and indicted. I mean, there could be 100 grand jury indictments on the things that Trump has done, crimes that have not run their season of time, the length of, I mean, all of there's enough garbage behind that boy to fill the Staten Island landfill. And once he's no longer president, all that's coming at him. Howard Stern was right. He should have never ran for president in the first place. The boy's too dirty. He should have never ran. He should have kept his life private, kept on running them jive real estate deals and running his mouth and being a host of The Apprentice, and he'd be okay. But now that boy going to have more legal. So what's he going to do? He's not going to be able to fight all these lawsuits coming at him. And he ain't going to have the protection of the Senate or the House of Representatives or anybody else to protect him. He's going to have to go to jail. So perhaps he'll decide, well, I'll flee to Russia. Yeah, I'll flee to Russia. He'll pack up, and middle of the night, he's in Russia after he realizes what's coming down the line, and Vladimir Putin will protect him. Either that or suicide. So I don't know that he's going to Russia. I suspect that suicide would be an option because I don't think they want him. I don't think Putin wants him over there in Russia. But at present, listen, at present we are at cyber war with Russia. We are at cyber democracy election war at Russia. Russia, now listen to me very carefully, Vladimir Putin in particular, they have already compromised our leader. Our leader bows down to our adversary. Now listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Our leader, Tribulation Trump, already has demonstrated over the past 3 years in unequivocal and unimaginable ways that he has bowed down to Vladimir Putin, that he takes orders from Vladimir Putin, that he defends Vladimir Putin against the statutes and the Constitution of America, that he is a servant of Russia and Vladimir Putin. And whether it's what he said in Helsinki, where our 17 intelligence agencies said that Russia meddled in the 2016 election, and Trump comes out and says Putin said to him that he didn't meddle, and he believes Putin over our 17 intelligence agencies. Trump is attacking the FBI. He attacked James Comey. Now he's attacking McCabe, and now he's attacking Christopher Wray. He attacks any and everybody and everything in order to protect what Russia did. To this very moment, he's even got Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, and gangster Bill Barr saying they don't know whether Russia did it or not, or whether it was Ukraine. We are at war. Check this out. Here's the scenario. And you can spin this any way you like. But there's a cyber war going on. You know, when I first heard about Alex Jones' motto, Info Wars or Information Wars, I thought it was a unique title, and it is. Because there's a war about information going on. And Alex, who had keen insight into the process of information, disinformation, information, good information, Alex was great at putting forth information and being at war with other venues of information. Probably one of the best that did it. And now what we see happening on Fox News is that Fox News is trying to pick up the mantra of Alex Jones by sending out alternative information in an information war. So you got the liberal media and the conservative media at war with one another. That you'll agree to, is that right? InfoWars, you'll agree to that. We are at an information war. You'll agree to that, right? And at the back end of this broadcast, I'm going to play a clip that I put together. Joseph Manning looked at it the other day, said, and the title of the clip is When I Was a Good Negro, and I was giving out information against Obama, how I was beloved because I was a good Negro. We are at war. Whether you believe we're at cyber war, if you believe that we're in information war, and there's no doubt in that. The Fox News and CNN are at war. Alex Jones was right. Information wars. He was accurate on that. So we are at war. If we are at an information war, then we are also at cyber war. That is to say, the implements by which the information is now being dispensed. The amount of money that Trump and his supporters are spending on Facebook is astronomical. Michael Bloomberg dropped $37 million into television ads. And I thought to myself, why is he going television? You know, I guess he's from old school. You know, and candidates still use television, and a lot of people who are seniors are not all that slick with computers. But you know, Facebook is the place you're going. If you're going to run ads, you're going to drop $1 million. Facebook is the place to drop that money because Facebook reaches a whole lot more people more consistently than does television. So we are at cyber war. And Russia, who has been developing their cyber war skills for years, have tapped into our system and are now making the decision to select our president. And right now, our president, we don't have a leader to fight against the adversary. We are a toothless nation. Because our leader, for whatever reason, cannot say a bad word against Russia. So we're at war. We are at war. And then you got the war going on in the House of Representatives, in the Senate. You got the Republicans. I mean, there has never been such acrimony in all the days of our republic as we now experience. We are at war. But the irony of this is that the president of our nation has sold out. Actually, treason is what he's done because he's helping and abetting the enemy. So impeachment is the way to deal with this guy, all right? Now, lurking behind all of this is white supremacy. Behind all of this is that, well, why is this happening? Trump is not a white supremacist in that regard. He's a racist, but not a white supremacist. But his support base is white supremacists. And their problem is that they have been able to read the tea leaves and recognize that brown and black people will run the government in not too many days. And once brown and black people are running the government, they may not be too kind to Japheth people or to white people. And they must do everything they possibly can to try to hold on to power. But it's a hopeless hold. It's a hopeless prayer. There's no way. It's impossible to do. You certainly can't do it legally. So for everybody who's trying to figure out why is Bill Barr now turned into a gangster, here's a man who's the Attorney General of the United States of America who's a gangster. Why is Mike Pompeo, a West Point graduate, why is he gone gangster? Why is he lying? He was the head of the CIA, and he says he don't know whether Russia meddled in the election, and the CIA gave the report. And now he's saying he don't know why these Japheth people, why are they doing this? It's so unseemly. Why are they doing this? It don't make any sense unless you understand the call of white supremacy, unless you understand the fear that's in the heart of the white man today. And let me say Japheth because folks get upset when I say white man. They don't get upset when I say black man, but they get upset when I say white man. Until you understand the fear that's in their hearts, you will be mystified at the fact that Trump is assaulting the Inspector General who gave a 2-year finding that the FBI did nothing nefarious, nor wrong, nor biased in its investigation of the Trump campaign and the Russian connection. There was the Inspector General has reported that there was nothing wrong. When Mueller gave his report on the 24th of April, right about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Bill Barr came out and said it completely exonerated Trump when the words in the report that Mueller wrote were 8 actions of absolute stomp down obstruction of justice. And Mueller himself said that this report did not exonerate Trump, but Bill Barr said it did and then held on to the report for 2 days before he released it. You have to understand beneath all of this is the desperate plea of white supremacists. And by that I don't mean hood-wearing Ku Klux Klan, riding on horses, torching crosses, white people or Japheth people. I mean, the average Joe Blow who is Japheth or white, who recognizes his sense of dominance, his sense of rulership in America is gone unless he takes it back. He cannot take it back legally because the Constitution protects brown and black people. And so he's going to have to take it back by trampling the Constitution. So they're going to cheer Trump's obstruction of justice. They're going to cheer Trump's obstruction of Congress. They're going to cheer Trump's lying. They're going to cheer it because that's the only way they can guarantee that they don't become servants to brown and black people. And that's what's behind all of this. All right. You can ignore it if you like. You can say it ain't so. Go ahead. This is a bit of a news blog we do looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.